you're warning your black son about confronting the police, things like that. But you need to warn him about confronting the world, not just the cops. You got to think about when he gets that job at Google, and he's making 100,000 a year, and he's sleeping with the women in the office. Warn him about that too, because that can destroy him, get him locked up, or cause him to lose his wealth. I saw a faculty member when I was at Syracuse who went through something like that. I remember when we both came in, we got hired at the same time. I'm not even going to say his name. We got hired at the same time, and he was the same age as me. We were both young, like about 31, 32. So around that age, the older students, they're attracted to you. We were both making. I was making over 100,000. I don't know what he was making. He's an English part, so he probably made a lot less than me. But still, he was a good looking guy, very charming. Me, I'm just probably kind of awkward, but I had money, so they probably made up for some stuff. Anyway, I remember doing like graduate student Q&As where we're like the two professors answering questions, and I could just see. You could just tell. You could just see the 22, 23-year-olds like being like, so let's talk afterward or whatever. I ignored all that because when I first got that job, best advice my father gave me was, he said, "Don't you F nothing on that campus." Yeah. That's what he said, and so I just took him for his word. I didn't know why. Well, a few years later, this other guy, he was sleeping with a graduate student that was in his class, and they had a relationship. It was all secret. It ended. 6 months later, she accused him publicly of sexual misconduct, not rape, but it was sexual misconduct. And they literally put him on the news. I'd never forget that. His mugshot was on TV like he was O.J. Simpson, and everything eventually got dropped. But it don't matter. You can't. People can't unsee your face on a mugshot, right? And so generally, I think everybody is all these. How many of y'all got sons? Anybody here got sons? Give me a yes if you got a son. You got a son, Jeff. I know you, and you got a daughter. So I think there are things daughters need to be warned about. It's up to us to warn them about the way the world really works. They want you to think you live in this post-racial society, but you don't. You still black. Stop thinking just because it's 2025, you ain't black no more, right? Yeah. So a lot of y'all got sons that are going to get out here, get comfortable, get a little money, maybe get a little fame, and stop thinking that they're black. They're like, I'm not black, I'm OJ. And that's when they chop the head off and they chop his balls off. So let me give you some just financial stuff here quickly, and then I'm gonna move back to Jeff and then you, Tierra, on some things that you can lose if you're a wealthy man that's accused of a crime. Number one, you lose reputational damage, or there's reputational damage. That's financial. Basically, that affects your business deals, stock holding, sponsorships, stuff like that. When your reputation's tarnished, it's very difficult to get the same economic outcomes that you got before. Number two, you got the legal costs, and they call this liquidity risk. That means that in order to just defend yourself, even if the accusation is totally baseless, you're spending tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees. That murders your wealth. You had 100,000 in your stock portfolio, you're liquidating that, borrowing against it because you're defending a baseless lawsuit, which can not just lead to financial ruin. It leads to a lot of stress and frustration because you're mad because you didn't do anything wrong, because somebody lied to you and told you that life was fair. They told you that if you do the right thing and you tell no lies and you don't hurt nobody, everything's going to be all right. But what you don't understand is, as a black man, they've been hurting you even when you didn't hurt nobody. There's a lot of dead black men who didn't hurt nobody. So you got to be smart.